Over your working life, you will earn more than $1 million. For a lot of you, closer to 2. Sit with that for a second, because it almost certainly doesn't match anything you feel when you open your banking app. $1 million is going to pass through your hands, and you can go your entire career without once feeling like you had it. So where does it go? You already suspect you're spending. Your spending is not the interesting part. There is something underneath it, and once you see it, you stop being able to unsee it. Let's build the number first, so it stops being an abstraction. Researchers at the Social Security Administration went through real earnings records, not surveys, not estimates. The actual reported earnings of American workers across 26 years. Median lifetime earnings came out at about $1.85 million for men, about $1.1 million for women. Those are medians. Half of everyone earns more than that. Now hold those two facts next to each other. If someone handed you $1.1 million in cash in one go on a Tuesday, it would rearrange your entire life. You would remember the day forever, handed to you across 400 paychecks. It changes almost nothing about how wealthy you feel. Same money, same amount, completely different experience. And if your first thought just now was that those are not your numbers, stay with me, because that reaction is the whole problem in miniature. What follows has very little to do with how much you earn. Someone on 3 times your income describes this in the same words you would. Earning more does not switch it off. It only makes the amount that goes past you larger. So the question is not whether you earn enough. The question is why none of it feels like it was ever there. Here's the first reason, and it is built into the hardware. Your brain is excellent at judging an amount it can see all at once. A pile of coins, a stack of bills, a crowd in a room. You get an instant read. It is terrible at judging an amount that arrives over time. And money never shows up as a pile. It arrives as a stream. The paycheck lands, rent leaves, groceries leave, the subscriptions leave, and a smaller number sits there waiting for the next paycheck. You never see the total. You only ever see the puddle at the bottom of the stream. Picture the actual moment. It is 9 days after payday. You're standing somewhere with your phone out, deciding whether you can order something, and you open the app to check. What appears is one number, not the 400,000 you have earned so far in your life, not the 32,000 that passed through this account in the last 12 months. One number on day 9 after rent. And that number is what you use to answer the question, am I doing okay? Every financial feeling you have ever had was generated from that view. The narrow one, the one taken at the worst possible moment in the cycle. Your brain reports on what it can see, so it reports back, not much, and it says that in the same year, you personally moved $40,000. Your perception is doing exactly what it evolved to do. Nothing about that is a discipline problem, which raises the obvious question. If the stream got bigger, wouldn't the puddle get deeper? You already know the answer to that one, because you have had a raise. Think about the last time your income went up. A raise, a new job, a better contract, a client who finally paid what you were worth. For about a month, maybe 3, it felt like something. You noticed it, then it stopped feeling like anything at all. Psychologists call this adaptation. Whatever level you reach becomes your new zero. The nicer apartment stops being the nicer apartment after one winter. It just becomes where you live. The better car becomes the car. The upgrade becomes the baseline, and the baseline is invisible by definition. Here's the part that costs you. The feeling expires. The cost does not. You are still paying for the apartment that stopped impressing you in March. Run the same test on your phone. Whatever you are holding was at some point the best phone you had ever owned. You remember opening the box. You do not remember a single day since then when holding it felt like anything. But the monthly line item survived every one of those days, and it will survive the next 24. That gap between how long a purchase feels good and how long you pay for it is where a serious fraction of your million goes. Not on anything stupid, on things that were genuinely nice for a while and then quietly became furniture. So the stream got wider and the puddle stayed exactly as deep because you widened the channel at the same time you widened the flow. That is 2 of your million accounted for, invisible on the way in, absorbed on the way through. There is a third one, and this one happens before the money even arrives. By the time your paycheck lands, you have already spent it in your head. Rent is spoken for, the car is spoken for, groceries, the phone, insurance, the subscriptions you forgot you had. You assign that money to jobs before it existed, so when it shows up, it never really feels like yours. It is passing through on its way somewhere it was always going. You are not a person with money. You are a hallway the money walks down. And money you never felt like you owned is money you cannot remember having. That is the whole trick, running quietly for 40 years. An enormous amount of money moves through your life without ever once being experienced as money. And now, the expensive part, the one nobody warns you about. Every financial decision you make while looking at the puddle. Should you take the job with the pension? Should you fix the car or replace it? Can you afford to take 3 days off? Whether to put anything aside at all this month, or whether that is something people with more money do. You answer all of those from a view that shows you the smallest number available. So you decide like someone with very little, over and over for decades, while $1 million walks past you. Somebody looking at the total would answer several of those questions differently. Not because they are smarter, and not because they have more. They can just see more of it. The invisibility is not only uncomfortable, it quietly makes your decisions for you. So let's take the obvious conclusion off the table. Nobody needs to tell you to earn more. More money entering an invisible system stays invisible. That is the entire point of everything I just described. Someone who earns $3 million across a lifetime describes the same feeling as someone who earns one. Wider stream, same puddle, same shrug when they check the app. What is missing here is a view. Somewhere you can see the total instead of the trickle. You have probably already tried the obvious version of this, a budgeting app. You downloaded it on a Sunday, connected your accounts, and watched it sort 3 months of your life into categories with little colored rings. And then it told you what you already knew. Here's what came in, here's what went out, here's your coffee in a chart. Look at what that app is actually showing you. The stream, again, in higher resolution with better graphics and a monthly fee. Almost everyone quits around day 9, and discipline has nothing to do with it. There's nothing new to look at. The app measures the same puddle from a nicer angle month after month, and you already knew what the puddle looked like. What you need is a different picture entirely. So here's the smallest possible version of that. Pick one number, not a budget, not an app with 14 color-coded categories that you will abandon in 9 days. One number, everything you have kept, savings, investments, whatever would be left if you stopped earning today. Write it down. Once a month, write it down again. Same day, takes 60 seconds. That is the entire practice. What it does is convert a stream into a stack. You stop staring at the puddle and start watching a pile. And a pile is something your brain can finally see, compare, and get attached to. One warning, because this is where people quit. For a lot of you, that number is going to come out negative. Debt on one side, almost nothing on the other, and the total lands below 0. Write it down anyway. A negative number that you can watch is worth more than a negative number you are avoiding, and the avoidance is the thing that has been keeping it hidden. You are not writing it down to feel good this month. You are writing it down so it can move. The first month it will feel pointless. The number will look small or it will look bad, and you will wonder why you bothered. Around month 3, something shifts, the number moves, and you can watch it move. That is the first time in your life that the $1 million becomes visible to you. It was always there, you just had no way to look at it. If you want the rest of this, the specific traps that pull money out of that number before you ever get to see it, I have put every episode into one playlist. It works as a free course on how your brain handles your money. It is right here. And if you want the version you actually work through with a 30-day structure instead of a video you nod along to, that is the Rich Brain Protocol linked below. I'll see you in the next one.